Philip K. Dick never ruled an empire nor invented a famous machine, yet he changed the way millions of people imagine reality, technology, and even what it means to be human. In his work, the future is not clean and sleek. It is unstable and doubtful, full of false memories, deceptive objects, opaque powers, and almost human copies. That is why people sometimes speak of a Philip K. Dick-like world, a world where we no longer know whether what we see is true, manufactured, or sold as true. His influence is immense because he gave popular forms to major modern anxieties: artificial intelligence, surveillance, reality manipulation, and the crisis of authenticity. When we speak today about androids, tests to determine who is human, or machines that imitate emotion, we are still walking in the shadow of his novels. When we imagine predictive policing, surveillance societies, or implanted memories, his work still serves as a reservoir of images and warnings. And his influence goes beyond books. Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, A Scanner Darkly, and The Man in the High Castle spread his questions through global culture. Philip K. Dick was born in 1928 in Chicago. His twin sister Jane died a few weeks later. That absence haunted his whole life, and the idea of the double runs through much of his work. As a teenager and young adult in California, he read obsessively, worked in a record store in Berkeley, and was already writing as if reality could split apart at any street corner. His career began in pulp magazines. Then, in the 1960s, he produced one major book after another. In just a few years, he almost single-handedly forged a paranoid, metaphysical, and deeply social kind of science fiction. The Man in the High Castle imagines a world where the Axis won the war. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Asks what still distinguishes the human. Ubik makes even the substance of reality tremble. In 1974, after an experience he interpreted as a revelation, his writing became even more mystical, more anxious, and more directly focused on one question: what is truth? He died in 1982, just before the release of Blade Runner. It is almost ironic. As the man disappears, his universe enters mass culture for good. His contribution was not to predict the future in exact detail. It was to understand very early that a world saturated with technologies, images, and interests would make the true hard to distinguish from the manufactured. That may be why Philip K. Dick still speaks to us so strongly. He did not merely imagine strange worlds, he taught us to recognize the strangeness of our own.